It was just more than music. It was like my comforter. And I was the only child of a single mom, and I was alone a lot. And it just made me feel good. It was like my buddy or something. It made me feel like everything would be okay.
Located in the Mississippi Delta region, Clarksdale, Mississippi is not only known for its fertile land and mouth-watering soul food, but it's a musical oasis, home to musicians such as John Lee Hooker, Son House, Ike Turner, Sam Cooke, Muddy Waters, and more. Born in the midst of poverty and depression, blues music tells a story of turning trials and tribulation into truth and triumph.
One day I remember thinking, well, you have a harmonica, you know. Every kid had a harmonica back then. So I just go out in the woods and I just started teaching myself how to play. Little did I know where it was going to take me.
Blues music's arrival is recorded around the 1860s, more than 200 years after the first slave ships arrived in the Americas. With them, they brought a painful story that they transformed into art. A combination of spirituals, chants, and emotions, the blues became a way to liberate themselves mentally, communicate thoughts and ideas, and cope with demanding manual labor.
And I started playing the guitar at 16 years old because I asked my mom to buy me a guitar if I sang in the choir. I wasn't a vocalist, but I wanted the guitar, so I sang in the choir and she bought the guitar. It's a gift that you have, and your gift just have to be molded. You know, so okay, you got this gift, but we're going to teach you how to use it correctly. Grandmother was a radio host on 94.3. Every Sunday morning she was on the radio. So I kind of took that traditional tone, that strong voice, that gravel, that loudness. You know, I kind of got that from her, and it still was the soul of the gospel. But you know, it's one and one with the blues.
To me, the spirit of blues is in for life. You know, we can do this. It's the all-purpose music. It's your buddy in good times, and it's your comforter in bad times.
Between 1916 and 1970, more than 6 million Americans would relocate from the rural South to cities in the North, Midwest, and West in search of civil and economic opportunity.
I feel great when I make my music because I know that, number one, I like it. So regardless of if anybody else does, I'm not finna let the world hear if I don't like it, if I'm not okay with it. But I know I'm saying things that the people that know me or that don't know me will like. They gonna respect that, how I said that. They gonna catch them seeds that I planted because I did it purposely.
The Great Migration would expose the racial inequality, violence, and corruption taking place in the South. This era in American history ultimately resulted in an increase in political activism among blacks and reshaped culture through literature, art, sports, and music.
Part of one of my reasons for doing it, but like I stated, you know, my connection with Muddy Waters. You know, that's my great-grandfather's brother. You mentioned Willie Morgan, a gospel singer. So music is in our genes, it's in our family. In some way, from generation to generation, it's passed down. You know, whether it's intentional or unintentional, whether it's the spirit of the blues or what, you know, that talent or that spirit, this music is passed down.
I just started going to all the blues clubs and hanging out. I already knew how to drink, so I just fit right in. As time went by, this waitress that I knew really well told Muddy, "You ought to hear Charlie play harmonica." And he's like, "What? Charlie plays harmonica?" When he found out I played, he insisted I sit in, and that changed everything.
With songs such as Me and the Devil's Blues, Hellhound on My Trail, and Ramblin' on My Mind, many wonder, did Robert Johnson really sell his soul to the devil in exchange for his captivating musical abilities? Whether or not this legend is true, it is, however, safe to say that Robert Johnson's remarkable talent and skill has influenced many blues and rock musicians past and present.
So anybody of our black culture that needed a place to stay stayed at the riverside. All right. So that's where the history started, and then the music started, and then they got better. And then we talking about Ike Turner. We talking about Tina Turner. They all would come. You know what I'm saying? Now Ike was a little boy when he came. He was 16. So she had to finish raising him as a man. And I tell people that when he came, you know the first rock and roll song, Rocky 88? Well, of course. Started down the street, came and finished right here, went downstairs and recorded, headed up to Memphis, right? The Sun Studio, got it together. So I tell people, birth of rock and roll was born here too.
Although blues music has evolved, the emotion and passion within this particular genre has remained the same.
We need to keep the blues alive. We need to give ourselves our flowers while, we here, because we deserve them. We got to, keep our credit and not just allow it to be taken away because, it's up to us. We got these phones and these platforms. We can let it be known like this was going on. Clarksdale, Mississippi.
It seems like every culture has a music of lament. I've met musicians in other cultures that I couldn't talk to. I didn't know their language, they didn't know mine. But we could play together because we were playing from the heart. It was the language of the heart.
Blues is the roots. It's looked at more as a folk music now. It's the root of all music. And when you go to countries such as, Brazil, I've been there, France, Switzerland, the UK, Germany, blues is mainstream, in those countries. But here in America, blues is underappreciated because a lot of people in the Delta, they look at it as sharecropping music, slave music.
A lot of the music and culture of something like blues, to me, it's below the radar. So unless you're in the know, or unless you were there, it's just hard to really grasp, why does it feel like it does? And it occurred to me for the first time, being a blues fan, a longtime blues fan, I should go to Mississippi and just see where it came from, assuming the music was all gone. So I kind of came on the Dead Man Blues tour. At that time, the Delta Blues Museum was one little tiny room, and that was the only blues museum in the world here in Clarksdale. Just the whole experience was like stepping back in time to experience this music, where it came from as opposed to kind of where it ended up.
Anywhere you go, you can take the blues to Japan. You can take the blues to France, Europe, Australia, to Middle Africa. You can take it there. And I know people that have taken it there. In certain countries, I can't go there and say, okay, let me sing this Southern Soul song. They don't say, no, I want to hear the blues. That's what they were raised off. That's what they know. That's what Mick Jagger and the rest of the European, that's what they took this Delta blues, and when they took it to the UK, that's what those people heard. That's what they're used to, accustomed to. And they want the real thing. And they know what it sounds like. They know exactly what it's supposed to sound like. If you try to fake this, you can tell. Anything you try to fake, eventually you can tell that you're faking it.
It was like an Alan Lomax moment or a walking into a history book moment. It just kind of blew my mind because here it is. I thought this is something that here at least was largely gone. Sure, blues, big in Chicago and around the world. But to walk into an environment where, just frankly speaking, it's an entirely African-American audience. Like it hadn't left the culture in the community.
Bobby Rush did some stuff together, playing with Grady Champion, taking pictures with blues legends such as Lazy Lester, played harmonica, being connected with those people and having those people tell me, older people saying, look, I see what you're doing. I feel it. You need to keep doing what you're doing because young African-American men, they're just not doing it. They're not playing the blues.
If you're properly exposed to blues and you hear the real thing, it'll stay in your heart forever if you're open to any degree and you get it.
Got playing a heavy blues song. I'm just excited. I love the blues. I love the music. I love the rhythmic pattern that dates back to Africa, Ethiopia. All of that stuff that dates back. I love it. It's true. It's about the soul.
It definitely has to evolve to stay relevant, and you definitely want to get young folks interested. Kingfish, Chris Ingram coming up, never once, ever, all the shows I ever saw him play at places like Reds and Ground Zero and Hambone and just other places, never once did I see one of his friends from school, for example, come to his show. Nobody of his generation came to see him. I never saw it once. My hope is that with his successes, you know, getting on television, making real money, you know, getting in magazines, all these things, that maybe, you know, some kids here who, you know, look at blues as being their great grandparents' music at this point or whatever they may be thinking, maybe they look at it, it's like, huh, okay, you know, that's interesting, you know, it's like maybe I want to look into that.
Programs such as, you know, the blues, the International Conference on the Blues, it teaches a lot of it. It teaches a lot of the music and the people and the influence. But I think they need to see it. The blues music is out here. It's out here and it's here to stay. You know, we ain't trying to keep it alive because it's not dead. And it won't die.
Dirty Delta, hometown rapper. We own a new wave, tell them other people catch up. I am not a slave, taking cues from the master. I am what I am, dreadlock like a rasta. You are an imposter, please fall back. Neo soul, hip hop, trap, blues, that's facts. Put me in position and watch how I go attack. Might not